Welcome back, my fellow Chibits, to the weekly Hunter x Hunter manga chapter review, this time on chapter 379. Okay, so to begin, as always, I want to be doing the Viz Media translation, so just FYI if my translations are different from yours. So, to start, I'm just going to say right now that this chapter is very, very simple. In terms of how Hunter x Hunter is, I don't think this video is going to really be that long. I'm not going to lie. And the reason why is because just mainly there's like 3 big segments. Let's see. You have the segment with finding out the closed room situation. And then you have the situation with finding out the other twist to the closed room and the explanation of the ability. And then you have the ending part, which is with the spider. So there's only 3 segments to this chapter. It's relatively simple, and I think for the most part, it's pretty easy to get. I mean, there's some stuff to analyze, but overall, I think this is, in terms of just how Hunter x Hunter is, this is definitely one of the most simple chapters we've gotten to date since its return. So, to begin, we get some clarification to the killings that happened in the last chapter. Remember what I said? I stated that with the whole thing with the, the moon symbol, like, scar on the man's face, I was like, maybe Hisoka, he's potentially disguising as this man, and he's trying to frame him and all that, it could be a big thing. And that's what I assumed, since the man was around the same height as Hisoka, I was like, that could potentially be what's going on here. But after looking at this chapter, that does not actually seem to be the case. We get some clarification from the witness. The witness explains to Cal what is going on. I heard a knock, and she went to the door. She opened it, and shortly after I heard someone collapsed. I called out, but there was no reply. I stepped out of the bathroom, and he was standing there. So there's the description, the moon scar and all of that, basically saying that this man was just standing before her. And you can see in terms of height difference, there's a big difference in height. You can see just from the panel that he is much larger, which is just showcasing how tall Hisoka would be compared to her. So it's very obvious that she is not Hisoka. So anyone that was actually thinking that she could potentially be Hisoka because of the dialogue later on in the chapter, that does not seem to be the case just by this one page alone with just looking through the door. Now, anyways, carrying on with the dialogue, basically, she goes and explains that he came inside in the room and all that, and she couldn't make a sound. She was so terrified that she didn't know what to do. She didn't know she should move, make a sound. She was just utterly scared. And basically, the man starts talking to himself, talking about, something about 20 kills, stops at 20, 21, numbers, stuff like that, and it's just a back and forth thing. These little details here and there are very crucial, but at the same time, they were planting little details to make the story feel very believable for why she is alive. And in this case, as it continues on, she says like he was mumbling something, she doesn't really understand what it meant at all, and eventually he just walked into the bathroom, and then she just sat down and waited for the people to eventually arrive. When they opened the door, obviously, he was no longer there. Now, this entire explanation, it's obvious that it's a nin ability. I mean, even if we didn't know who the dude was or what ability he kind of had thanks to the last chapter, for the man to end up gone like that, it proves that it must be a nin ability. So like I said, if we didn't even know about the dude, it's very obvious that he uses nin because the door was locked and then he was gone when the door was finally open. So yeah, it's easy to piece something together that something was very shady. But even then though, there's a lot of weird things about this. Cal's like, okay, levels, numbers of people, offset, and the numbers 20 and 21. Those are clues to the mystery. Basically, what is being analyzed here is that these clues are most likely conditions for his ability. Whatever nin ability it is, he realizes that whatever these things are probably conditions, but the thing is that this condition is not exactly the condition for how his teleportation ability works. It's just the condition for the gift he has received, to be able to, gain an ability and then continuously level up and strengthen his aura, which I talked in length a lot in my last chapter review, so I'm not going to get back into that. But basically, that was the description of what happened from the witness report. Now, the next page after that, she starts crying, saying she wanted to give advice to the girl that got killed, personal advice. She asked her personal advice and all that, and she's like, I couldn't give it to her, and she starts crying. And right after that, we could see her facial expression just changes like that. As soon as she turns around, the tears dry up and they're gone, which shows that what she was doing was an act. It was crocodile tears. Now, the explanation for the reason why she did this is because, in fact, she was in league with the dude that committed the murders in the first place. The man that was going around killing 20 plus people, she was in league with the man. She was just making a testimony, but it was false. And there was some accurate information, but in reality, she hit enough to where she could be completely fine. And here's the explanation, basically. She's like, I will mix the truth with lies like that. It hints at why I wasn't killed too. And then he's like, good idea. Make sure to describe my scar accurately. And she's like, are you sure? And the reason why he wants the scar to be described is because he wants to figure out how their security is. If they can figure out quickly enough to identify him or who he is. They just want to see how good they are at it. That's, what he's wanting to try to find out. But for the most part, though, the reason why he had these little details explained and let that her say this to Cal was because it would be nin activation requirements, and that would make an obvious reason why she probably wasn't killed. So it's to throw off the investigation, to see if they could figure out that there's two different types of abilities he has right now that's attached to him. Now, to carry on, though, we get a little bit more clarification to her insight. For instance, the girl that was lying and the one that was manipulating Cal or saying the wrong information. So she says, a transportation ability. I don't really care for it. So saying, like, she doesn't want a transportation ability at all. She's like, is it really that fun to get it over with so fast? I'll go slowly with leveling up and asking for the gift. I've succeeded in contacting the investigators, now to get to know them better. I mean, you see how she, licks her tongue to the side. Now, when you look at this image, you could kind of say that maybe she could potentially be Hisoka. And the reason why I could see many saying that is because of the iconic tongue lick. Just the tongue coming out of the mouth, licking the lips and all that. You're like, that could potentially be Hisoka. But like I already said earlier on in this review, it was already established that the height of this girl is very, very short. Like, she's very short compared to the dude that's 6'2", 6'1", or whatever. I forget his exact height. I know it's around there, 6'1" or 6'2". But she's very short. And so there's just no way this could be Hisoka unless Hisoka could somehow shrink his body size or whatever. That's the only thing that could potentially happen. So, yeah. So the big point I want to just say right now is that this person has a mentality, in some ways, similar to Hisoka. She seems to be a cold-blooded serial killer that has a motive or needs to hunt down certain people. Let's look at the dialogue here. Is it really that fun to get it over with so fast? I'll go slowly with leveling up and asking for the gift. Basically, what that little dialogue says is that she doesn't, want to go out of her way, kill 20 plus people to be able to get her ability like that. She wants to savor the journey. She doesn't want the journey just to be over with at a, flip of a dime. And it shows the mentality of her to even go that far to slowly relish the fact of just killing people. And so she probably has certain targets, judging by the description she says after that. She says, I succeeded in contacting the investigators. Now to get to know them better. So that little dialogue alone shows that she probably has targets. She has individuals that she goes out of her way and targets. And that's why she wants to get to know the investigators better, because maybe she wants to target certain people within the force. Either because of grudge, maybe because that's who she wants to go after, or maybe because she just, has a thing to killing investigators. One or the other. That's just the big thing we could pull from this little mini dialogue that we got from her in this chapter. Also, she's a very good actor. She can definitely act very well and have crocodile tears. So that is definitely something worthy of note. Anyways, we carry over to the description of the man's ability, okay? So, the man with the moon-shaped scar, his abilities activation conditions is this. One door and a room of impenetrable walls. Those are the activation conditions of my ability. And then from the wall or floor, I can go somewhere else. I can go back to the original room whenever and from wherever. But if the original door opens and is no longer a sealed room, the ability resets and I can never use it in that room again. I'm also limited to only places I've been to before. I think I can also go outside the ship, but considering the danger of getting reset, I can't test it right now. So basically, his entire ability is kind of like a situation of get out of any room and go to somewhere else. For instance, if he's in a locked room, like if someone locks him up in a room or whatever, he's able to freely leave that place and go to somewhere that, he's been to before. So, let's just, an example, okay? Let's just say he was thrown into prison, and he was put into solitary confinement or whatever. He would then be able to open up the wall or floor and then be able to leave to any location that he's been to before. So the man, in a sense, he has a pretty good ability to get out of any situation if he is arrested. Now, in terms of combat capabilities, his ability isn't really that useful. It's just a good ability to get in and get out. And in some ways, you could say that this man's ability would have been very helpful in the Maryland fight. In the Chimera Ant, arc and all that, if this man was a part of it, he wasn't heinous or evil, this type of Nin ability would have been very good to have. To be able to get into certain rooms, if he could be able to get closer, it would have just been very good to have. So, yeah. Anyways, let's talk about, his conditions, and some of the things that seem to be a little bit of workarounds. Number one, I want to point out the fact that what he needs is one door and a room of impenetrable walls. That's what has been stated. And those are the activation conditions of his ability. So his conditions, they're hard in some ways, but they're easy too. And it's never stated that someone else could be in the room. That is never stated in his activation conditions. So, potentially, the way his ability works, he can have more people in the room with him, and then he can have people travel with him. Because it's never stated if someone could travel with him or not with him. It's not stated at all. So, he could probably travel people in and out depending if he's ever been there. So he could scope out a location if he was like a thief, for instance, and then he could get ready to go in there like it's nothing with a bunch of his crew. That is something to point out. Now, another thing too makes me wonder is if this man can only open up the walls or floor with his hands, because there is a lot of focus on his hand opening up the wall. For instance, let's say this man lost his hands, or if his hands were tied behind his back or something, like if he was in a straitjacket. Would the man be able to use his nin? Does his conditions require his hands? Does he need his hands to be able to open up a space? This is Hunter x Hunter at the end of the day, and so that could be a part of the condition. I don't know. I wonder if his hands have to be there. So if he couldn't use his hands, he might not be able to open up any doors. So the reason why he's not really concerned at this moment, though, about investigators is because if he is found out or arrested, he'll just be able to get out because, he has this type of Nin ability. Oh yeah, so anyways, carrying on, though, let's talk about the spider situation. So we get to see more dead bodies and people up missing in the black market section of the Mafia, and the spiders are trying to investigate, what the hell is going on. As we know, in the last chapter, one of the guys just disappeared from the inn and all that from Nobunaga like it was nothing, which proves that someone is able just to instantly get someone, grab someone, and now we understand the reason why the dude disappeared. And in a lot of ways, I guess it answered my own question, too. I guess people could enter from the exit, but maybe they can't, go with him when it comes to the beginning of the door, like when he opens up. We have no clarification of that one. But, okay, anyways, carrying on, though, they follow these footsteps, these bloody footsteps. They're like, okay, so there's bloody footsteps here. It's like saying it's telling us to follow these steps. And he's like, why would there still be someone left alive, of all things? I mean, if they were trying to kill these people and all of that, why would they leave a witness? Because if they were trying to frame us for it, then they shouldn't have let a witness escape. So that would mean that the man would have had to hunt the man down, even in the man's life or something. He's, currently on the chase. So they're just trying to figure out, why is someone being very sloppy? It's very obvious from their deduction that this dude is either using them to start a dispute with the Cha family and trying to make them angry to where they get in a big fight with each other, or B, the man has just a grudge with them, and he's like, oh, the spiders are here, let's use the spiders to get rid of this, Mafia family. One or the other is going on, and they're like, this is obviously what is happening here. We're trying to get framed for this or whatever, and it's not gonna look good if someone tries to pick a fight with us. And he's like, for the most part, it doesn't seem like he's after us. He doesn't want to, kill us. He's mainly just aiming at the Cha family. They're even saying, like, it's definitely not Hisoka, because Hisoka, he kills with bungee gum and all that. So when he hits them, they would fling up and all that, you know, cards would be used. Just the overall style of killings and stuff that's going on, it's not Hisoka's style. So they're like, obviously it's not him, the target. So this dude is someone completely else, a third party that is going out of his way and basically causing trouble. And Nobunaga's like, the dude was totally messing with us. Like, there's just no way. Like, when the man just disappeared in front of us like that, the man was just messing with us. And it's obvious that they're probably not going to like this dude because of his methods and how very sloppy they are. But at the same time, his nin ability, the dude that with the crescent sheep scar, his nin ability is very powerful for the spiders. If he was to, let's say, join the spiders, he'd be very crucial because his nin is really good. Unless Kuro wants to grab it from him. That's another way. I say Kuro could potentially get it from him. If not that, then, you know, it would be interesting if the man did join the spiders. Go through some character development or whatever. That could possibly be the case. This is where the dude is locked up in this room to where he's able to travel around. You know, how he activates his nin. That's the room they arrive to. But before they get to open the door, one of the main dudes that, you know, were tasked with trying to hunt down any information they could on Hisoka, his name is Wang, he's like, I'm Wang Cha, underboss. I was told to wait, but I hate waiting. I ask only what you can answer. Did you attack the warehouse guard? So this gives us a good impression of this individual. Someone that is currently trying to hunt down Hisoka. This is a man that doesn't like waiting. This is a man that wants to get answers quickly. He doesn't want to just dilly-dally. He wants to be very effective, efficient. That's what you could pull from his personality. And also on top of that, he's a very intelligent person too, especially what he said towards the end. But he basically is like, did you attack the guards? Like, did you kill them? He's very straight to the point, no sugarcoating it. He just wants to get the answers he wants, and that's about it. Another scene, we get a shift over to Franklin, and Franklin talks to another person a part of the Cha family. And basically he's like, no, we did not attack the guards and all that. There's just no way. But then he's like, wait a minute. If they attacked us, then we would obviously raise the gauntlet. We would attack them. We would definitely kill anyone that tried to mess with us. And so he's basically saying, yeah, we did attack you guys if they attacked us. But if, you know, you didn't attack us, then we didn't attack you. That's just our motto. We have too much going on right now. We're focusing on Hisoka, and that's about it. So we're not wanting to start other problems at this time. That's basically what Franklin tries to say. He's like, at this time, it doesn't matter. But if you guys did try to do something to us, we attacked you. So it's very apparent from this little combo we have that the Cha family and, you know, the spiders, they have had some form of mutual understanding. They realize that someone's just trying to pit them against each other, and they just don't want none of that right now, which this is an aspect of Hunter x Hunter I really enjoy. It really kind of expresses an element that's very different from standard shonen we see in Weekly Shonen Jump. Normally in Weekly Shonen Jump, or a shonen in general, something like this, with a little bit of drama here and there trying to make someone get framed or whatever, it would result in one side getting upset and trying to kill the other. That's just a typical thing you would see in a shonen. But I'm very thankful that this is Togashi as a writer, and he's able to do something to where it's not a standard shonen, and have it to where these characters are able to think through everything and realize, like, there's just no way. The way the evidence is displayed, there's just no way that, you know, the spiders would do this, or the Cha family would try to do something, or anything like that. It's just like, it's obvious that just someone's trying to be, you know, pitting them against each other, and they were very sloppy about it. But as it continues on, basically Franklin's like, look, we're not gonna do anything right now, but we are thieves. Once everything is said and done, we will probably be stealing some stuff, but that's not our objective at the moment. So it is stated, Franklin's like, look, we will probably steal stuff once everything is said and done. But if we, you know, anyone raises their hand against us, well, obviously, you know, there's going to be a problem. We will raise the gauntlet. So that was some signs that, you know, the Cha family does have to worry about the spiders, but right now they're on a very shaky foundation for a peace treaty right now. This dude has nin. Now, for instance, this door and all that most likely is nin activation. One of them already managed to figure it out. Like, what's going on here with the whole thing with the, you know, how people are just ending up dead is teleportation nin ability. And the man's like, oh wow, they're just willing to talk about Nin right out in the open, not even giving a crap at all. And they could say that because they have no, allegiances. They are very strong. They're willing to, put their strength, like they're willing to bark and, show their fangs. They're not someone that could just bark and have no bite at all. So the man's like, just as I feared, they are a risk factor that must be eliminated. And as he's thinking that in his mind, he says, what would you say if I said we should work together? So Wang, he right now is on the manipulating side. He's trying to eliminate them, but at the same time he realizes that they need to work together for the time being to figure out whatever's going on with the other mafia, whoever's hired a hitman. So that's about it when it comes to this chapter of Hunter x Hunter. Like I said, it's incredibly simple. It really is easy to understand and analyze and all that, but gotta say, I like where this is going. I like this plot thread right now with the spiders and how they're kind of starting to work with the Cha family to be able to handle whatever is going on. But I'll leave it at that. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And I love you guys. Please be safe. Chibi out.